Hey guys, so today we're gonna go through and adjust these arms so they're the proper length for this lift to recenter the rear axle. I'm also gonna go through, do the sway bar lengths, and I already did the brake hose back here. It's pretty simple. I think I've got a little video on that. But yeah, it'll be, I'm going to show you guys all one side, and I'll do the other side off camera, because it turns out it really does take a ton of time to do this. And yeah, I think I'm finishing the lift today, so that I can be done with this, start on the Caprice. Now, of course, I need a wrench for this one. And I'm going to try this whole close-up shot thing. I know you really can't see anything right now, but I'm just taking 2 bolts out. And I'm going to chop this video all up. There'll probably be a lot of time-lapse and a voiceover. I'm going to try that on this one. See how that does. Damn. Okay, so I was incorrect. I did have the right upper time. So we're going to set this at, what, 18 3/4? 18 3/4. We're just going to wind it in because I had the other one mostly removed. Again, super greasy. Probably best to wear gloves for this. And get your Heim reasonably centered in the bore. Run it. I'm at 18 1/4. I went too far. And this will all have to be aligned after the fact to verify that every one of these cross members is exactly where they should be. It's 18 1/2. Probably should have counted the turns. My hands are too slippery for this. So, 18 3/4-ish. Let me put one more twist on it, just to make sure we're erring on the side of caution. You know, it's pretty dead on. We'll go with that. Luckily, this isn't going to be some rock bouncing rig or anything like that. I think this kit will last a long time for him. Holy. I am horribly misaligned now. Not quite sure how I'm going to shove the pinion up to get that right. That makes my life harder. And maybe it's time to clean up the scrap pile from underneath here. So all I'm doing is cranking the pinion up and watching my bore for the I think I'm gonna have to take the other upper loose first. Okay. Now you guys aren't gonna get to watch that. So after some adjustment on the pinion, I was able to get the upper to line up. A little too well, actually. I'm sorry. No, not enough. Sorry, you gotta look at my back. Okay. So, we're real close. It's gonna take a lot of fiddly adjustment. There we go. So I got it to line up. I'm gonna put the flag bolt back behind here. Make sure it ends up on the right side of the bracket. Alright, and then this side is adjusted. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just leave it attached to the frame, drop it at the axle. So we did the new track bar bracket. The only part you have to drill, there's one bolt in the very top. You can't see, just the camera angle. It's a 3/8 bolt. It goes to the top to pinch it down to the original track bar bracket. You have a through bolt with a sleeve in the middle and a nut on the backside. 2 small 3/8 bolts that go down to the shock tower leg. We adjusted the control arms. I've still got to align this one correctly. We did new springs with the shims. I need to decide which way I'm going to clock those shims. Obviously the new shocks, new brake hoses. And then now I'm going to start doing the small adjustments to make sure the rear end's completely square in the vehicle. And then I will move to the front of the vehicle to do the front axle and measure off of the rear axle because I've verified that it's square with the vehicle. And you can see the tunnel I'm going to do the drive shaft in. You know, tons of room in there. It's, you know, there. No room at all to work in. I'm not going to drop the axle or the evap. Or sorry, I'm not going to drop the fuel tank or the evap tank to get in there. But yeah, this should be tons of fun. And I found out my camera auto flips. Okay, this is going to be a weird stitched video, but I'm just not very prepared today. So they supply new 1/2-inch bolts in the bag. Throw a washer on either side. Throw a washer on the backside before the nut. And thread that on. I'm using the factory bolt down on the bottom. I like the flange nut on it better. And I'll copy this on the other side, and then we'll come back. And hopefully it will support the axle so these brake lines aren't near as tight. I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing with the front brake lines. It's just going to be the same as the rear, but way longer for some reason. Not 100% sure, to be perfectly honest, because these things are more than long enough the way they sit, but they want me to replace them, so. Yeah, so it's a 10 millimeter to the bracket. It's an 11 millimeter nut on the brake line itself, and then a 15 on the back of the caliper. Oh, there we go. And honestly, the new brake lines are considerably shorter. Very much so. Ew. But these are old. They got 150,000 miles on them, so we'll replace them anyways. We're just going to try to do this reasonably quickly. Make sure all the copper washers come off. Slip the new one on. Copper washer on both sides. Sorry, I'm putting my head right in the way. Can't see anything right now anyways. So with these new copper washers, I don't know if there's a hardness issue or what, but it's really ideal to get them snug and then smack the banjo bolt, the hammer, lightly, you know, not deform it, but there's something about these that just aren't flattening correctly and sealing. Okay, so we got that out of the way. We're gonna get my 11, get this out of the frame. Get some room to work in here, maybe. Okay. And if you hear a bunch of yowling and a cat going crazy, Lana has adopted a barn cat. Now she won't leave me alone. kidding. I gotta get some side dikes. Okay. There's two little clips on here, and because the brake line isn't going to be routed the same way, the wheel speed sensor needs to come loose from it. We're just going to slide it up and through as nicely as I can. And these ones are going the exact same way for some reason, that the nut will not spin on the line. This close-up content part is a lot harder. I can't just go wherever I want. And I do not want to break this line. There we go. Oh, that's fine. Just drip brake fluid all over my shoes. Okay. Much better. Okay, so we're gonna flip this on here like that. That'll go in nice. I forgot to tighten that all up for no reason, because I still cannot, cannot turn this. Okay. Wrong ratchet. There we go. This is what I did on the other side on the rear too. Got a little ahead of myself. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this off and I guess just let that leak. Which is the opposite of what I want today. I was trying to clean up my mess, not make more of them. Okay. And then, since that's going to fight me, I need to go get a crescent wrench to tighten it on with. Yay, stabilize the nut. Just run the line on. So we are getting to a point. This is going to be probably 2 videos worth of, well, content. But I think on my week off, no, I don't think, I know that on my week off this Jeep's going to be done and gone. So it'll probably be continuing to show up for a week or 2 afterwards. But that's the nice part about having a big project, because I don't have to source all this ideas, or all these ideas for content. I can just do the stuff I'm already getting paid to do. There we go. And we'll slip that back in there. Try to stay out of the way of the camera. You guys don't need to see the back of my head. Okay. These things are almost acting like droop limiters. I don't like that. Your brake lines shouldn't be the thing that stops your suspension from drooping more. That's just like a ideal way to snap them off. Oh, nope, other copper washer. So I'll be looking into some suspension limiters for this thing for him, because Rough Country decided that wasn't something that they needed to give with the kit, I guess. So that all went pretty smooth. I think in the future I might just stick with the stock brake lines for these, because this seems a little excessive for no reason. I may reroute this to the other side of the shock, but I'm scared of it getting pinched in the coils. So yeah, obviously you can tell these axles are far back and completely drooped. So in no way will this ever become a real limiter unless you start flexing it out. And at that point, I would probably inboard the bracket and sweep it along the body of the axle rather than where its travel is the longest. Okay, so we're gonna do the front extended sway bar, quick disconnect dealios, maybe. I went ahead and broke them loose so you wouldn't have to hear me making all my dumb noises. But these are sketchy because you have to drill a hole in the frame and use self-tapping bolts to hold the quick disconnect bracket on. And they don't give you very good instructions on where to put it. So that's the old one off. I'm gonna hang one of the new ones. So it's gonna want to sit like that. Should swing in like that. I will go through and put some anti-seize on this once I get it done. Well, that's not gonna work like that. What about on the other side? Doesn't fit the axle at that point. Not terrible. Okay, I can do that. Okay, so it will go up like that, supposedly. Sit there real nice and pretty like. Actually, this is supposed to be facing forward. I'm supposed to be using this one. I don't really like that. It doesn't seem to sit nicely on there for me. Should sit flat to the frame, but you run out of room to work with. Yeah, it says it goes forward. Great instructions. Just great. So it wants it up here somewhere. You cannot use that at that point. That is worthless. So I guess I'll make the executive decision, even though these will never be disconnected in the entire life of the vehicle, that we will... I got a weld right there I got to avoid. We'll set these low so that I still have travel. Should stay out of my springs. And if I'm wrong, somebody is welcome to call me out for it, and I don't know how I'm going to fix it. Or I'll throw that on the ground. And you can see a good rub spot from the 285/70s he was running on this before. I don't like that. I would much rather have the brackets flipped but bent at a true 90, because then I can get up where they want it to be and fit the pin. Yeah, I like that more. So we'll go ahead and mark it. And then I get to make a bunch of noise again. What I'll probably end up doing is tapping these or nut-certing them. Oh, kicking the light. Okay, that's self-centered really well. This one should too. Can't. Ow! Alright, well I punched through. Okay, and then I'm gonna have to eyeball this through the bumper. Okay. Can't See, bumper's right in my way. What? Right in my freaking way. Okay, check again. Where'd I get to? Same spot I was at last time. Okay. Put another one in there. Okay. Those are going to be able to tap without a ton of resistance. Don't get me wrong, not super stoked about them. Okay. So if this is held on, can I get enough deflection? I can get enough deflection out of this to get this to line up. So if this is mounted flat, I think I'm going to bend these a little bit more. I'm going to start again here in a minute. Okay, so all I did was knock a little bit more bend in this thing. You can compare right there. It wasn't a ton, just a quick tap with the ball peen. And we'll try this again. I just wasn't happy with where it was sitting. It seemed like it wanted to fight a lot to get on there. And this is going to be secured with a pin, so it shouldn't have to. Can you go away, please? Thank you. All right, you know the one thing I didn't grab was a socket to tighten these down with. Let me see, maybe I'm lucky and I got something on hand. Sure do. But all I got on me is a breaker bar. Oh well. So these are not ideal for this situation in my opinion. You'd be better off either welding a nut into the frame or something of that sort. But these are quick. They don't take much time. Alright, I'm getting an impact. I don't have time for this today. Okay. That was loud, but much faster. And now, you can slide them on, put your clip on, and your sway bar will be up and out of your way. Granted, I still got to tighten them, so I should probably do that. I definitely had the socket on my ratchet. Did I grab the wrong ratchet on the file? I think so. Dang it. Nope. I just grabbed the wrong ratchet in my pile over here. Yeah, there's a couple flats on the inside. Typical modern sway bar stuff. Thank God I don't have to put, a 5mm Allen in the middle and tighten it with a wrench the whole time. Okay. They didn't supply any washers with that, and that thing just has enough thread to get into the stove part. I don't dig that. But that's a front sway bar disconnect for JK of typical shitty eras. Okay, I forgot to put my mic on again last time. Seems to be a reoccurring thing. But we're just gonna slip this up in here. Yeah, put the washer on this side. And slip your nut on. Then I need a screwdriver to hold it in place. Sat down, started editing this video, and realized I hadn't filmed this part. Did it on the other side without the camera. Of course, it went way faster. This is the only part of this that I don't think I'll ever get used to, is not feeling crazy when I talk to myself. There we go. Oh, I'm in the perfect spot. There we go. Come on out. Okay, that's your lower anchor. The axle's completely drooped out right now, but in theory, you just slip this on. It is tight quarters right here, but it will slip on. Slip it on, you take your clip that holds your sway bar up, put it on here, and your sway bar is active again. Of course, you do both sides. But yeah, this is, it's an okay kit. It doesn't have any jam nuts in the package, but there's some included in other parts of the kit for this.